When I was 18, now more than 4 decades ago, hard to believe, I was a student at Stanford University in engineering. But those equations we were learning didn't always appeal to me. They didn't answer this greater yearning, that big question of why. Why are we here? What's our purpose? Where is all this fabulous knowledge going to take me? Not just to get a good job or make lots of money, but how was it going to enrich my life at a deeper sense? I would ditch those classes, which I hate to tell my professor. I would go to the fountain there in the middle of Stanford with his book, Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. And I read that book over and over, not just then, but throughout my life on every birthday. And that story resonated. This young Brahmin went through his ascetic stages and later his wealth stages. And then after that, a more simpler, quieter life as a ferryman on the river. And this young David wanted to know his journey and almost to excise that purpose out of those books. But it's very hard to do at that age because you really haven't lived, you haven't experienced. But that question remained in my mind. Why? Why are we here? Towards what purpose? How is the best time to use our time? Fast forward years after becoming a developer and buying a building, and the building crashed when the market crashed in the early 1990s, I quit. And I stumbled into a field that had just started in the world called sustainable building. And I had studied solar engineering at Stanford and loved building that little model of a net zero home. I used to carry it around with me at every move. Well, after that building had crashed, I was looking for what to do next. And when I stumbled into the idea of sustainable building, that we could look at the energy and the waste and the health of our buildings, the buildings that I had learned as a real estate developer, and we could optimize them, a green light went off in me that still, decades later, radiates today. And out of that idea, I ended up jumping in with both feet, and we founded the U.S. Green Building Council, which I funded. And out of that, we invented the LEED rating system, which became the largest green building rating system in the world. Billions and billions of square feet, creating over $1 trillion economy. And Japan was bugging me, and Canada, and then Australia, for wanting a green building council in their countries. And so I created the World GBC, a UN for country green building councils, now with more than half of the world as members. Our metrics are the biggest in the world. Our numbers of energy saved and mitigation of CO2 and fighting global warming might be the best amongst any. But I discovered something even more important. I found some data to answer those earlier Siddhartha questions of why. You see, I had learned that I could not only make money and grow wealth in buildings, but we, through making them great, could band together and create organizations and a rating system and have accredited professionals. And we have about 400,000 of those now. And build a movement. But in building this movement, we not only increased wealth and did well when the economy crashed, we not only created businesses that thousands of us could run and do well, we found purpose. We found each other, our tribe, to work together to save Earth, to save humans, and build a new economy. It made me think about legacy, and that's really what those earlier questions were. What is your legacy? What is mine? And as we get older and we've met our material needs, or they're not enough. Our kids get a little bit older, we're not as busy. We start thinking about, what are we leaving behind? What kind of impact has our life had here on our families, on our community, on our planet Earth, our home? And when we're dead, our last breath, after that, what kind of seeds did you plant? Will they grow into forests that pull the CO2 out of the air and kick out fresh O2? Not just for people to breathe, but for inspiration and for those who are coming after us. My good friend and mentor passed away in 2000, David Brower. And at his life celebration, not funeral, there were thousands of us there that he had touched. He challenged me to write the Earth Commandments and to create a new way to coexist here when there are billions of us and the resources like our air, our soil, and our water are dear and they're diminishing and being polluted. So I ask you, think about your legacy. Have you thought about it? Do you have a plan, a strategic plan? And I call that Plan L. You might have a plan A to make money, a plan B to protect your family, a plan C to have some joy and happiness. All great, but what's your plan L? Maybe you haven't spent the time. Time is our scarcest commodity. We run out of it and we don't know when. But how do you use your time? And so I've come up with this program called Plan L. It has a 7-step framework on how you create your own strategic legacy plan, how you build a movement and create legacy. And I'd like to teach that to you, those 7 steps, which were synthesized from creating the U.S. Green Building Council and our LEED rating system, and later scaling it globally through the World Green Building Council. I want to teach you more about rating systems and the power of them. It doesn't have to be LEED for you. It could be green food, green agriculture, green bodies, green health, green students. It could be almost anything. You could be in the PR firm and add a make it good to your program, as a friend of mine did. But the key is to make the time. And then I will show you the way. So if you go to 1440.org and put in my name, David Gottfried, or put in how to build a movement, you can join us in November 2nd through 4th at 1440.org's beautiful new retreat campus in the Santa Cruz Mountains. And I'll give you a notebook that you'll fill out and I'll guide. And at the end of the time, you'll have your Plan L strategic plan. You'll be inspired, you'll be instructed and guided and ready to put legacy in place in your life. I'll have 2 guests I'll call on who have built legacies and movements in their respective fields. As you know, mine was green building, but my wife, Dr. Sarah, took on the medical field and is passionate about functional medicine and integrative health, and has been a pioneer through her 4 New York Times best-selling books and her work with hundreds of thousands of women in balancing hormones and boosting health span and lengthening telomeres. We'll also call on my good friend, Dr. Jean Rogers, who quit her job and started SASB.org to create sustainability guidelines for the world's largest financial industry. Trillions of dollars are impacted now by SASB's guidelines. And she built that organization. She didn't have support when she started, and it has changed the world's biggest industry. She didn't have a ton of help day one. She had a vision, she had passion, she had some expertise, and she had the guts. So you can draw from myself and from Dr. Sarah in health and Jean in sustainability standards for finance, and apply this to your career, to your life, and find your path to answer the why, to hit purpose, and help create legacy. Please join us, and so when your head hits that pillow, that final breath, you know you've taken care of not only your family, but the global community. And this can be a great business opportunity. Thank you.